Hi everyone, it's Nadia from YARNutopia. Today we are making this super fun tic-tac-toe board, and it turns into a satchel to hold all your pieces together. I'll show you that in just a second, but we're gonna go through the supplies first and then answer some frequently asked questions, and then we'll get into making this fun game. So first off, big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing the yarn today. I am using so many different colors in this project, mostly scrap yarns, but this is a really fun Super Saver project. So I'm using Red Heart Super Saver yarn for this project, and I'm using, for my big main color of my board here, of the tic-tac-toe board, you can see here, I'm using royal blue, but you can use any color you want, and all the rest of these pieces here are all scraps. Okay, so there's 150 yards in this blue board, and then the rest of the colors I use for these pieces are all scrap yarns. And I have the colors all listed in my blog post for this pattern, where you can get the free written pattern on YARNutopia.com. So big thank you to them. Also, you're going to need some stuffing, because these pieces are all stuffed with polyfill. They are super soft and super fun and great for all ages. Also, we are going to use a G-size crochet hook. This hook is from the Etsy shop Would Be Fancy. It is a hand-carved ergonomic crochet hook right here. Look at that wooden handle, and I'm using a G hook, which is 4 millimeters. You can use a G 4.25 millimeter hook, or even an H hook, which is 5 millimeters. And I'll put the link where you can get this hook, or hooks like this one, and you can choose which size you want, and they have it fixed into the handle for you, whether you hold your hook like me, like this. I sometimes hold my hook like this, or if you hold your hook this way as well. It's universal. And if you're left-handed, there are left-handed hooks. This is a right-handed hook, but there are left-handed hooks available too. And there's international shipping. Check out their Facebook page, and check out the Etsy shop, and get your awesome ergonomic crochet hooks at Would Be Fancy. Also, you're going to need a scissors and a yarn needle just to cut your yarn, sew in some ends, sew things together, all that good stuff. And this is the piece here. So let me get into some frequently asked questions about sizing. How big is this, and can you travel with it? Yes, you can travel with it. It's great for the park, great for your home, great for kids. This is 18 inches across the board, and that's, what is that, 46 centimeters? Yes, about 45, 46 centimeters. Okay, and this is a square, so it should be the same. Yep, about 16, 17 inches there, so it's a little bit less than a square. So about 44 centimeters there. That's long. So the width and the length are very close. It's almost a square. And the pieces, these O's for the tic-tac-toe pieces, are about 3.5 inches across, and the X's, let's use this X actually, is approximately 3.5 inches long, wide. Okay, so they're about approximately the same size. Just little handful pieces. So those are, I get a lot of questions about sizing and everything, so, and how much yarn you're going to need. These are all made with scrap yarns, but super fun, and it gets kids away from, you know, the screens this summer, just, you know, interacting with each other and playing games. You can play competitions of these tic-tac-toe boards, so a lot of fun. Now, you put all the pieces in the center here, and fun thing here is that you pull each corner. You can pull this strand on each corner, and it makes it into a little bag to keep everything nice and stored and secure. So you can take it around with you if you wanted to take it to the park, or take it to grandma's house or something. You can have all your pieces inside of the bag, and then when you are ready to play, you just simply stretch it out. And there's the game board. How fun is that? So that is so awesome, and you have all your pieces. So I just wanted to say a big thank you to Red Heart Yarns for providing this yarn today. This is a lot of fun and I love the soft feel of Red Heart Super Saver for this project. And big thank you to my dad behind my shoulder for filming and editing this tutorial and posting it up online for everybody to watch. Make sure you subscribe to our channel if you're watching on YouTube, because we can give you that new update of when we post our next video. So make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Reddit, and all those links are in the description of this video. And check out the free written pattern on my website, YARNutopia.com, for this tic-tac-toe board. I hope you all enjoy this, and I hope you all enjoy your summer. And let's get started and make this tic-tac-toe board. Let's start out by making the board first. This is a repeat, so it's fairly quick. We are going to start off with a slip knot. I'm using royal blue for this color. We're going to put the short end over the long end, then fold this down over the long end, and then pull that long end through and pull tight, and there's your slip knot. And then you can insert your hook and we can start. So to make the board, you want it to be long enough or wide enough to fit all of your pieces. So I just chained 62, so you can chain the amount you want your board to be as wide, the width of your board, I guess. So yarn over and pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so this is just chaining 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to make you watch me chain 62. So just chain really any amount that you want to make your board as wide as you want. But I think 62 chains for me will be wide enough. And then I'll meet you up and we'll go on to row 1 of the board. Alright, once you have chained 62, or the amount you want it to be as wide, you can kind of lay it down and see that it is this wide across here. So we're going to have 3 sections. Okay, so 1, the middle, and the outside for our little pieces. So we have to make this long now. So to do that, we're going to double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So the loop on the hook does not count as a chain. So count 1, 2, 3, and 4. This 4th chain here, and what I personally like to do is turn the chain toward me, and I like to work in these back ridges of the chain. Okay, so yarn over, go into the 4th chain, 1, 2, 3, 4, this back ridge right there. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 of the loops, and then yarn over and pull through those other 2 loops, and that's a double crochet. So it actually looks like there's one here too, because this is going to be counted as a stitch right here. It's going to be counted as our chain up 3, and I'll show you that in the next row. But yarn over, go into the next chain, and we're going to double crochet, and we're just going to double crochet into each chain across this. And at the end of row 1, we are going to have 60 stitches. So I'm just going to double crochet across in each chain, just like that. And once I finish row 1, I'll meet you up. I'll show you how to go on to row 2, and then I'll show you how to do the repeat, and then you can make the rest of your board. Alright, I have 60 stitches across here for row 1. And again, you can see how wide it is to be able to see how much space you'll have to make your board. So this is the width of it. Now we have to make it long, like I said. So to do that, every row is going to be a repeat of row 2. So we are going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, then turn the work around, and do not work in this very first stitch right here. Okay, because that stitch is this chain up 3 stitch right here. Then we are going to hop into this next stitch right here, and we are going to double crochet. So yarn over, go into the very next stitch, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, and just double crochet into each stitch across. Now when you get to the very end of this row, there is that chain up 3 stitch, and you have to work into that. So let me go to the very end here, right here, this stitch is considered a stitch. Okay, so you want to go at the top right here. Well, obviously yarn over first, then go in, then yarn over and pull through and finish off your double crochet. You should have 60 stitches at the end of each row, which includes this chain up 3 stitch. Okay, so if you need to just see how I started this row, just double crochet into that last stitch. You know what, I'll just meet you up and I'll show you at the very end of this row, and we'll go on to row 3. Alright, so I have this 1 stitch left. Like I said, that chain up 3 counts as a stitch, so we are going to yarn over and go into that, and then yarn over and pull it through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and that is our last stitch on that row. So you should have 60 stitches on this row. So now we're going to just repeat row 2 for however long we need to make our board. I'm not exactly sure, actually. I haven't written out how long it needs to be. I probably should have done that. You know what, just it'll be in the next section. I'm just going to continue repeating row 2 until my board is as long as I want it to be, and in the written pattern it says it, because I'm posting this at the same time, so obviously I will know how many rows I have to do. I'll tell you in the next section. Just repeat row 2. Alright, so I ended up doing a total of 31 rows, so as you can see here, this is what your piece should look like. It should be like a square or very close to the measurements of a square. So let me grab this here. You can, ooh, don't look at that. So I measured my piece across here. So this is about 17.5 inches, almost 18 inches. Okay, which is 44 centimeters. So then I measured it the long way. I just did 31 rows in total, and then I measured it out, and it's about the same, almost 18 inches or 44 centimeters. So that is very close to being a square. Yeah. So it's very close to being a square. So this is what your piece should look like. So once you get to this point, if you need to do more or less rows depending on your tension, you can. So just repeat row 2 there and make it as long as you need to. And we are going to do surface crochet to make the tic-tac-toe design. But first, before we do anything, before we fasten off, we want to single crochet around this whole piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to chain 1 here, and I'm gonna go down this edge right here. So I'm gonna actually turn my work sideways, and along these sides, basically wherever your hook fits is where you should single crochet. We're just cleaning up these edges, okay? So just like this, just go in wherever your hook fits, just make a single crochet. So yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. That's a single crochet. So go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, and that's wherever your hook fits on this side. When you go to on this side or the opposite end, you can work in the actual stitches, but on these sides here there's no actual stitches, so you have to kind of just fit your hook wherever it fits, and that's what we're going to do. So I'm just going to single crochet around this whole piece to clean up the edges, and then once we're ready to fasten this part off, I'll meet you up and we'll go on to the next step together. Alright, so I forgot to mention that when you get to the corners, all the corners, you should put 3 single crochets in the corners. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. And now I'm working on the bottom edge here. So I just did that first side, and now I'm going on the bottom edge, and I'm going to single crochet over the top of that loose end as well so that I don't have to sew that in later. And we're just going to single crochet into each stitch at the base of this piece, and then in the next corner I'm going to put 3 single crochets and then work up that side, and then put 3 single crochets in the next corner and then work up the top. So that's all I wanted to mention there, so you didn't just go around the corner and then your corners could curl up. So make sure you put 3 single crochets in the corners. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll meet you up when I'm about to fasten this part off. Alright, when you come back around, just slip stitch to the first single crochet. You can see I put 2 more single crochets in that corner there, so just slip stitch to the first single crochet right here, yarn over, pull through, and pull through. Just like that. And then we can fasten this part off, so chain 1 and cut your yarn. And pull that all the way through and pull it tight. Grab your yarn needle right away so that you can sew in your end here. Okay, so I'm just yarning my needle and I'm going behind my stitches and I'm sewing in this end. And you want to do this as you go during this whole project, because you don't want a whole bunch of ends to sew in at the end. So there we go. Cut any extra. Alright, now the next step is, you can see here I've added a line to this. We are going to be making these lines. We're going to be working with surface crochet. So to do that, you want to grab the color you want your lines to be, and we want to segment out our piece equally to be able to make 2 lines horizontally and 2 lines vertically. Okay, so I have 31 rows here, so one is going to be a little bit taller. So it's 10 rows, then skip 10 rows, and then there'll be 10 rows. Okay, so every 10 rows there will be a line. So there's a line here at row 10, and then there will be a line here for row 20. And then for the vertical lines, I have 60 stitches across, so every 20th stitch. Okay, so 20 stitches here, there'll be a line going up, and then 20 more stitches to this side, there will be a line going up. And we will make them straight lines. So I want to show you how to do that. So I have this already done on row 10. It's like between row 10 and 11. Okay, so I have row 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So between row 20 and 21 right here, I'm going in 5 stitches. So I'm going to count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right at the 6th stitch right here. Okay, so you can go all the way across, or you can go in a few more. It doesn't really matter where you start, okay? And let me just count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's 11 rows up on top here, which is okay. Or you can actually do one more. The middle can be a little bigger, okay? So we'll have 10, 11, and 10. Okay, that equals 31. So now I have my hook inserted in there. I'm taking my yarn here from the ball of yarn, and I'm going underneath this piece, right where that stitch is. I'm hooking it on, you can't see that, but I'm hooking it on my hook and pulling it through that stitch right there. Okay, then I'm going to drop the loose end, okay, the straggler. This is the straggler. I'm dropping that, and we're going to be working with the working yarn from the ball of yarn. Okay, so you won't see it, but you can feel for it in the back. And what we're going to do is go into the very next stitch, okay, yarn over with that working yarn, and pull it through and through. But don't pull tight, okay? Do not pull too tight. Then we're going to go into this very next stitch here. Okay, yarn over with the working yarn. I know you can't see me do it, but I'm feeling for it. And pull that through. Whoops, I got caught on something else. There we go. And then pull through. Okay, but don't pull too tight. Then go into the next, yarn over with the working yarn, pull through and through. Okay, and we're just going to do this all the way across until I have those 5 stitches left, and then I can fasten this part off. So, because I want it to be equal, because I skipped these first 5 stitches here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I started in the 6th stitch, and we're going to work all the way across until there are 5 stitches left. We're going to fasten off at that point. So I'm going to do that in each stitch. You can see I'm right at the base of the stitches. So stitches worked in here, I'm going to go right in the base of that stitch and yarn over with the working yarn and pull it through. Okay, and I'm going to do that all the way across. So I'll do that and then I'll meet you up when I'm about to fasten this part off. Alright, when you're done making the line and you have your 5 stitches left over, whoa, up, there we go, 5 stitches left over here, or however much space you had in the beginning, making sure it's equal on both sides, and then cut your yarn, and then just pull it all the way through, just like that, and then pull it, don't pull it too tight, but pull it just a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to grab our yarn needle. Okay, we're going to take this last end here, yarn our needle with that, and we're going to go in right here to the other side. Okay, then to sew in this end, we're going to flip this over here. We're going to go underneath this loop, then underneath this loop, and then go into this little space right here to the other side. Okay, and then just go underneath these loops. Or they look like surface stitches. Okay, and you can go again. And like this. Okay, just kind of sew it in. And then cut any extra you might have. Okay, there's that side. Now on this side, you can see I already made a vertical line here. Don't worry, I'll show you how to do that next. But I just wanted to make sure I have all my lines done. And also, so I'm flipping this over to this beginning strand here. And we're going to sew in this one now. Now, just the same way, just go underneath this loop, then this loop, then down to the center here, out to the other side, and then around these stitches here. Okay, and yeah, so I made another few of these straight lines here. So in the written pattern, I'll share where you need to actually put these lines so that everything is equal. And if you made your board bigger, obviously, or smaller, obviously you'll have to make them on different rows. But you can see here, this is between row 10 and 11. Then this is actually between rows 20 and 21. Right? No, 21 and 22, because there's actually 11 rows, because this is 31 rows up top, and I explained this earlier in the video, so if you wanted to rewind this to see where I explained it, but there's 10 rows up here and 10 rows up here, and then there's 11 rows in the middle here between these two lines. And now I'm going to show you how to do a vertical line, because the rows are different, or this line is a little different than these ones, because these ones you can work right in the stitches, whereas this one, vertical lines, are a little bit different. So let me just show you. We're going to turn this way, okay, and I'm going to start in the 2 rows in, okay. We're going to start 20 stitches in, so let's see, 2 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, right here. I'm going to insert my hook. Okay, actually we're going to start at 3 rows in. There's 2 rows here, we're skipping, and we're going to start at the 3rd row in. And just like the other lines, those horizontal lines, I'm going to start with my yarn behind my work and pull it through. I know you can't see me, but I'm just hooking that on the hook and pulling it through. I guess this is kind of hard to explain without showing, so I guess it's good that we're showing because I'm having a difficult time kind of trying to explain what I'm doing. But then we're going to go up to this next stitch right at the base of that stitch right there. You can see the stitch is right here. Okay, at the base of it we're going to go in and we're going to hook on our working yarn. Sorry, I'm just going to flip this. Get out of there. There we go. Okay. So I have my working yarn, and right at the base of that stitch go in and then yarn over and pull it through and through. Okay, then go make your stitches kind of long, so pull it through just a little bit. Go to the top of that stitch right at the base of this next stitch right here. Go in and then yarn over with your working yarn. There we go. Pull it through and through. Okay, kind of pull. Okay, don't pull tight, just pull up the loop. So then you can go to the next right there, into your work, pull through and through. And I know this can get, it's gonna get kind of awkward, because this piece is kind of big and you're trying to finagle the hook and the yarn in the back. So take your time with it. I'm trying to take my time with mine here, and you want to make sure that you hook on the working yarn, and sometimes you miss. So go up to the base of this next stitch, yarn over with the working yarn, pull it through, and then pull it through. Go to the base, and just make sure you're working in a straight line. Do not work in a diagonal line. Okay, so you can see I'm working straight up. Okay, so I'm just going to continue working all the way straight up until it's equal with this one. Make sure you have 2 rows. You can see here's 2 rows up here and 2 rows down here not worked. So I'm going to then end it with there's 2 rows left unworked, and I'm going to fasten this off and sew in my ends just like I showed you for that other the horizontal rows. I'm going to sew in my ends exactly the same way. And then once I have all these lines on and attached and sewn in, we can finally go on to making the pieces of the tic-tac-toe. So the X's and the O's. Alright, I just attached the other line here, so this is the tic-tac-toe board. Now, at this point, I mean, if you wanted to, I mean, you don't have to crochet the other pieces. You could use, like, rocks or painted something or paper or something, and you have a nice, cute little tic-tac-toe board that you can just fold up and take with you wherever. But I want to crochet some plushy, cute little X's and O's for this game, so I am going to fold this up and set it aside. And I'm going to grab, let's see here, this color here. Let's start with the O first. Okay, so I'm going to grab this rouge color. You can use any colors you want. I'm making all of mine all different colors actually. And we are going to grab our hook. And we're going to start off with a slip knot. So I showed you how to do that earlier in this tutorial already. And we are going to, for the O, we are going to chain 21. So yarn over, pull through, 1, 2, I'm just going to do it really fast here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. Okay, so once you have your 21 chains, we're going to take this without twisting it. We're going to kind of flip this over and bring this first chain to the hook here. And insert your hook into the back ridge of this first chain. Just like that. Okay, and we are going to single crochet into that chain. So don't slip stitch, just single crochet. So yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. We are working in continuous rounds. If you needed to, you can put a stitch marker into that stitch knowing that's the first stitch, but you can also see your slip knot right there and you'll know that that's your first stitch. And we're going to single crochet into each stitch around. So that first one, or I'm sorry, first every chain around for 21 stitches. So that was the first one. So we're going into this next one here. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Okay, so we're going to be working in continuous rounds, so just single crochet into each chain, and it should be like a big circle here. You can see the big ring. So I'm going to do that all the way around, and once I'm going on to round 2, I need to grab a stitch marker and we can go on to round 2 together. Alright, so I have my 21 stitches all the way around. Now, like I said, we're going to be working in continuous rounds, and I am actually going to work in the back loops only. Now, that's just a personal preference. We usually work through both loops like this, both loops, both loops, both loops. The loop that's furthest away from you over here, this is considered the back loop. So I'm just going to insert my hook into the back loop only, leaving these front loops all unworked, okay? And I don't have an actual stitch marker, so I'm just going to stick a different colored piece of yarn in here to mark my rounds. So you may want to do that as well. And what we're going to do for round 2 is put 2 single crochets in this first stitch right here. Okay, right in there. Put 2 single crochets in that stitch. So 1, and remember, back loop only. There's 1, go back in, 2. So there's 2 single crochets in the back loop of that first stitch. Now we're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. So just in this back loop of this one, we're just going to put 1 single crochet. Okay, the back loop of this next one, just put 1 single crochet. And then we're just going to repeat that whole sequence all the way around. So in this next stitch, put 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. And then in the next 2 stitches, put 1 single crochet each. So 1 and 1. Okay, and just repeat that all the way around. At the end of round 2, you'll have 28 single crochets. So I'm going to do that, and then I'll meet you up for round 3. Alright, just finished round 2 there. I have my 28 stitches. I'm moving my stitch marker up here, and we are going to increase one more time. We are going to put 2 single crochets in this next stitch right here in the back loop only. 1 and 2, and then we're just going to put 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches for round 3. So 1, next stitch gets 1, and the next stitch gets 1. And we're just going to repeat that sequence all the way around. So put 2 single crochets in the next stitch, and then 1 single crochet in each of the next 3 stitches. And then just repeat 2 single crochets in the next stitch and 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And we're doing that all the way around. At the end of round 3, you should have 30 single crochets. So I'll do that, and I'll meet you up for round 4. Alright, I'm so sorry about that. I meant after round 3 you should have 35 stitches. Sorry, not 30. 35 stitches. And we're going on to round 4. Rounds 4, 5, and 6. The next 3 rounds, 4, 5, 6, we are going to just put 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So no increasing on this round. Just go in the back loops and put 1 single crochet in each stitch. So you'll still have 35 stitches on rounds 4, 5, and 6. So when I finish round 6, I'll meet you up because round 7 is a decrease. Alright, at this point you're probably thinking, like, what in the world, Nadia? That doesn't look like an O. Don't worry, we are going to make it into one. So we're going to move our stitch marker up. You can see I did rounds, what was it, 4, 5, wait, no, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4, 5, and 6, rounds 4, 5, and 6, so round 7 is next. We are going to be putting our stitch marker up, and this round is a decrease round, so what we're going to do is single crochet these next 2 stitches together. So go into this first stitch right here, yarn over, pull through, remember back loops only, so pull that through, and go into the next stitch back loop right there, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and that is a single crochet 2 together stitch. So we just made those 2 stitches into 1. Now we're just going to single crochet into the next 3 stitches. Just a regular single crochet in each of those back loops. So 1, next stitch, just 1, and the next stitch gets 1. And we're going to repeat that sequence all the way around. So single crochet these next 2 stitches together. So go into this next stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. And then single crochet into each of the next 3 stitches. 1, 2, and 3. And then repeat, single crochet 2 together, and single crochet in the next 3 stitches. And at the end of this round, you'll be back down to 28 stitches around. So I'll do that, and then I'll meet you up for round 8. Alright, going on to round 8 now. So I have 28 stitches around. Our last round here at round 28, we want to decrease again. So let's single crochet these next 2 stitches together. So I just move my stitch marker up, go into the back loop of this first stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And then we're just going to single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches this round. So 1, and the next stitch 1. Okay, and then we're just going to repeat that sequence all the way around. So single crochet 2 together, and then single crochet in each of the next 2 stitches. At the end of round 8, you'll be back down to 21 stitches. So do that sequence all the way around, and once I have 21 stitches, I will meet you back up. We'll go on to the next step together. Alright, so once you are done with round 8, we can remove our stitch marker, and then we can fasten off. So go into the next stitch right here, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop on your hook, chain 1, and we have to cut our yarn really long because we're going to use it for sewing. So I'm just going to cut it like that, and then pull it all the way through and pull it tight. But you're probably like, what the heck? What is happening? This doesn't look like a... Oh! Well, what we're going to do is fold this in, okay, and fold this in, and we're going to sew rows 1 and 8 together like this so that it will be an O. And we're going to grab our stuffing. Got a big bag of stuffing over here. Okay, so what we're going to do is grab our yarn needle, and we're going to take the long end that we just cut, and we're going to yarn our needle with that. If you can get it on your yarn needle. Come on, yarn. I've been needing to get yarn needles for the longest time. And actually my dad found some. I should just use those plastic ones. There we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is line our stitches up. Okay, so there's our straggler from round 1. We're going to shove that to the inside because nobody's going to see it. Okay, and we're going to whip stitch this. So to whip stitch this, we're going to go under row 1 here. Is, let's see here, the stitches, there's stitch 1 there, and then go to the stitch right here. Okay, so they line up. And you can sew it either way, either this way or that way. I'm going to go this way here. So next stitch right here, and this next stitch right here. But don't sew it completely closed because we still have to stuff it. So go to this next stitch here and this next stitch here. Okay, next stitch, next stitch. Okay. And this can go kind of quickly. Just line them up and whip stitch. Okay. And you could just continue watching this because I'm going to actually stop and stuff this in just a moment. When I have like 5 or 6 stitches left to sew closed, I will stuff this. So I'm almost there, about halfway. you can just keep watching. Okay, almost done. And you shouldn't have any extra stitches, and they all should line up because you started off with 21 stitches and you ended with 21 stitches. So you should have the same amount top and bottom. Okay, so now there's only a little tiny opening left right here. So what I'm going to do is grab, oopsie, I'm going to grab my stuffing. Okay, just a little at a time. I'm going to stuff it in, and then I'm going to use my finger and kind of just guide it to the opposite side. Okay, and I'm just going to continue doing that for either side of this little O here. It's very similar to how they make amigurumi donuts, so that's kind of fun. And I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. I have like the weirdest head cold lately. I don't know what's going on. Excuse me. So I'm just gonna stuff this, and once it's fully stuffed, just don't overstuff it so you see the stuffing between the stitches. But you can just guide it with your finger or a pencil or like a crochet hook like this. You can kind of just like stick it in there like that and guide it. My fingers suffice, so no big deal. But once I stuff this, I'll show you how to close the entire donut or O. Alright, just closing this up here. I stuffed the whole thing, so now we just have a few more stitches left to close this little O. And we're just finishing up our whip stitching. Okay, and in these last two stitches here, we're going to go in. I'm going to put my finger in this loop here, and then we're going to come back through the loop and then pull it tight. And then we're going to take this yarn and go into, oops, we're out of focus, there we go. So we're going to go into the donut, or I'm going to keep calling it a donut. It looks like a donut, and I'm kind of hungry, so I'm going to go into the O with this strand, just like that. And then we're going to cut any extra, careful with the scissors, and pull out any polyfill that's extra too, or that's showing. Make it look good. Flip it around, shape it, and there is an O. Cute! Okay, so you just have to make 4 more of these. Okay, so you can make them all the same color or all different colors. I have all different colored O's. I just think that's colorful and fun. And you can, yeah, make 5 O's. And then once you've made those, we can come back and we will go on to making the X's. Alright, for the X, I'm going to, again, use all different colors. We're going to show you this in carrot here. Let's make a slip knot. Okay, and we are going to chain 2. So the X is made in like 3 different parts, but we're all connecting them together, okay? So this first part here, we're going to chain 2. 1 and 2, and in the second chain from the hook we are going to put 6 single crochets. So go into the second chain right there, yarn over and pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So there's 1, go back in, here's 2, here's 3, 4, 5, and 6. And just like the O's, we are going to be working in the back loops only, and we're going to be working in continuous rounds. Let me grab a different color here. So I'm going to put this piece of yarn in here for a stitch marker to mark my rounds. And again, like I said, back loops only here. In round 2 of this part here, we're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So this is round 2 now. 1 and 2, putting 2 single crochets in that first stitch, hop to the next stitch right here, put 2 single crochets in this next stitch, okay, and in each stitch around. At the end of round 12 here we'll have 12, or I'm sorry, at the end of round 2 here we'll have 12 stitches around. I don't know why I said round 12, sorry guys. At the end of round 2 you'll have 12 stitches, and actually I'm almost there, so you can just continue watching the next 5 rounds, so rounds 3 through 7. Okay, here's this. We're going up to row 3 here. So 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. The next 5 rounds, we're just putting 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So no increasing or anything. Just for the next 5 rounds, put 1 single crochet into the back loop of each stitch, just like this. And then, once I'm finished with round 7, I will meet you up. We'll have to fasten off this first piece and then go on to making the second piece. Alright, I just did these 5 rounds here, so I'm going to actually, for the first piece of the X, you want to fasten off. So what you want to do is go into this next stitch right here. I'm going under both loops and slip stitching. So yarn over, pull through, and then pull through that loop on your hook, and then chain 1. And then we're going to cut our yarn, but you want to cut it sort of long here because we will be using that for sewing later. So I have it a little bit longer, and we're going to pull that tight. You can remove your stitch marker, and there is piece 1. Now set this aside, and what I need you to do is rewind this and make another one exactly like this, except do not fasten off. We are going to continue, so you can see here is one exactly like it. Okay, and this one is still attached to the ball of yarn. Okay, so I'm going to set this one, that's piece 1, aside. We're finishing up this one here. Okay, so once you make another one, do not fasten the second one off. Okay, so you have 2 of them. What we're going to do now is move our stitch marker up. I have a new stitch marker here, but stitch marker up, and for the second piece we are going to go on to round 8. Okay, let's see here, there's round, just want to make sure my rounds are correct here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, round 8, we are going to attach these 2 pieces. So they're going to go like this, like an X, like the bottom half of an X. Okay, so what we're going to do is single crochet in each stitch on round 8 of this piece here. So you can just continue watching this whole round. We're going to single crochet in each stitch, which is 12 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, now we are going to grab our piece number 1 here, and where we fastened off right here in this stitch right here, we're going to go into the back loop of that stitch and insert our hook. Okay, you want to take your working yarn and move it to the back. Okay, just like this, and then yarn over, pull it through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. And now continue single crocheting on piece number 2 here. Or I guess this is actually originally piece number 1, but it's our second piece here we're attaching. So we are single crocheting in each stitch on this round now. Okay, so that creates having these 2 pieces put together as one. Awesome! So let me just continue single crocheting into each stitch. Awesome. So now you should have 24 stitches around. Now you can see I took this straggler, I'm moving it to the back of my work here because we will use that for sewing later. I'm going to move this stitch marker up. As you can see, it still looks not fully attached. We have to do 1 round all the way around. So you should have 24 stitches around here. This was round 8. Going on to round 9, I'm moving the stitch marker up, and we are going to work in this very first stitch on this first leg right here. So go into the back loop of that. Okay, you can pull everything to the back there. Okay, so single crochet in each stitch around now. So I moved my stitch marker up. You can't really see it because it's in this big giant hole here, which we will be sewing closed later. But I'm just going to single crochet into all 24 stitches. I highly recommend you count this round just to make sure you have your 24 stitches and just so you don't go past the beginning of this round. So I'm going to single crochet in each stitch, and then once I'm back to the beginning, I'll go on to the next round with you. Alright, so I made it back to the beginning here. I am going to actually remove my stitch marker and we'll put it in there when we go on to the next round here. But I'm going to pull this up like this. Okay, so that was round 9 here. So this was round 8, and then, oops, I'm sorry, round 8 was when we attached them. Round 9 was when we went all the way around both pieces, so now they are fully attached. Now what we have here is a big gaping hole right here. We want to sew that closed with this strand that we had cut from piece 1. So let me grab my yarn needle. Where is that? Oh man, I've lost it. There it is. Okay, got it. I always lose this thing. It's so tiny. Anyways, just yarn your needle here. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go into the middle here. And very simply, we're just going to go to this side all the way across to this side. Okay, just like that. And then pull. And you just have to do it once twice or 3 times. Just once won't be enough. So, and then you can go underneath a couple of the stitches. And make sure you're doing it from the inside, as you can see I'm on the inside of this piece. And then just pull it through. Keep your finger in the loop and then come back through the loop. And then pull tight. And we can simply just shove this into the inside of one of these little X points here because nobody's going to see what's inside. So now that's closed completely. There's no gaping holes or anything. It looks pretty good. So now we are going to continue on to round 10. Well, round 10 is just making, now we have these 2 here, so we're going to go on to making this top one here, okay, on this side. And then later on we'll come back and we'll make this piece. So I'll show you how to do that right now. We're going to single crochet in the first 12 stitches. So move this out of the way here, go into this first stitch, single crochet into 12 stitches. So 1, here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, oopsie, 10, 11, and 12. And we're going to skip the next 12 stitches, or the rest of the stitches on this round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 is here. You can see we're right back to the beginning where the stitch marker is, and we're going to go into this first stitch here. Okay, so now you can see here we are going to be making this piece right here. So it's going to go this way. Okay, so this is now the next round, round 11, basically, going on to round 11. And if you needed to, you could put a stitch marker in there, but it's such a big hole that you won't be able to hold it in there. So just make sure that you count this as our first row. We want to have 5 rows of this. So this is 1. Okay, so I'm going on to this next row of this. See how we did 5 rows of just single crocheting around for this? We're going to do 5 rows up here. So this is considered 1. Okay, I'm going on the second one here now. And then we're just going to single crochet around in each stitch. And if you need to, you can count every round will be 12 stitches on each round. Okay, now don't worry about this hole over here because we're going to be working that later. like I said, it's in like 3 parts. This is basically still part 2. Okay, so I just single crocheted around again there. Okay, so you can see here, there's 1 and 2. So I'm going to do 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and I'm just going to single crochet around until I have 5 of these rows. 1, 2, so I'm on 3, then 4, then 5. And then once I finish that part, I will meet you back up and we will stuff this thing and then close that top and then go on to the next step. Okay, so I just finished these 5 rounds here. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, before we close this top, we're going to stuff this thing. So let's remove our hook here, and there is access point in here. There's a little hole there, and then this hole here, and this hole here. So I'm going to grab my stuffing. Okay, we're going to start in this access point here and stuff this leg. I'm going to call them legs. The X legs. So we're going to just stuff. Okay. And you don't want to overstuff, so just pull some out if you need to. Okay. And we're going to avoid stuffing this section across here, okay? So just so that the legs can kind of poke outward, just to make your shape the way you want your shape to be for the X. And we're going to stuff this leg too, even though we're going to be working in that one next. And then the top of this one. Okay. Good. And just a little bit more. Awesome. So now to close this top here, we're going to decrease. Okay, so if you need to, we can move our stitch marker up. Okay, and single crochet 2 together, so go into this next stitch here, and then yarn over, pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. And we're going to do that, the whole thing, 6 times. So that was 1, so go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the next, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. Okay, there's 2. Go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the next, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops. There's 3. Here's 4, 5, and one more here, 6. Okay, it's getting really tight at the top here. Now what I'm going to do is remove this stitch marker and we're going to close this top. We're going to go into this next stitch here and the one straight across from it. Okay, if you skip these 2 stitches here, we're just going to go to this one across from it, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Then chain 1, cut your yarn, pull that through, and pull tight. We're going to go into the inside here with our crochet hook all the way to the top, pull in that straggler to the inside of your X. Okay, shape these sides here just like that. Okay, so far so good. Now we just want to make this side here. So what we're going to do is flip this around to this side. We're going to start right in this stitch right here. So we're going to grab our hook right in this stitch that's unworked. We're going to go hook on this yarn. Make sure that your strand, your loose end strand is long, because we'll use that for sewing. Just like how we did that bottom there, there's going to be a hole at the top here. So we're going to use that strand for sewing. We're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet into that same stitch right there. So go in, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we're going to single crochet in each of the stitches that are left over here. There should be 12 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, because this stitch is worked right there. Okay, then we're going to come back around here, make sure that this little strand stays out. Okay, and we are going to go into this first stitch right here and go on to round 2 of this one. And we're going to do those 5 rounds here. So this was round 1, going on to now round 2 of this leg of the X here. We're going to be making 5 rounds of this just like that. So I'm on round 2 of this now. And so then I'm going to make sure that there's 5 rounds, and then once I have those, I will come back and we will sew this center closed. We will stuff this leg here, and then we will close the top. Alright, so I just did 5 rounds here. I'm going to move my hook out of here. Here you can see this is where we attach. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, before we close this, we have to stuff it, and we want to close this little area here. So let me grab my yarn needle. Okay, yarn the needle with that strand. Okay, and this one we're going to be sewing from the outside, so we're going to go around just like that, and again like this. Oh, we're filming. Sorry about that. I guess you didn't know we were filming. Anyways, I'm going to go around these strands here and then go through that loop and close that. And then sew in this end. So I'm just going to go into one of the legs of the X and then pull that tight and then stretch it out just like that, and then cut any extra. Okay, just like that. So now that top is closed there. Now we just want to grab some more stuffing, and before we do our one last round of this piece, we're going to stuff this side. Okay, and you want to keep like pushing these down like this so that the X has that shape. So that's why I said don't stuff this section here. Make sure that this kind of stays flat so that these have that, you can shape it really easily. Okay, let me grab some more stuffing. And you want to just stuff it lightly, just like that. Make sure that has the shape. Sweet, that's looking like an X. How cool is that? Okay, so now what we're going to do is just like we closed this side, we're going to close this side. So we're going to, if you need to put a stitch marker in, you can, but otherwise you could just rewind this to see that last row of how I did it. I'm just going to single crochet 2 together 6 times. So you can just continue watching here. 1, 2, oops, 3, whoopsie, 3, here's 4. I'm single crocheting 2 together here 6 times. Okay, that was 4, 5, and 6. And again, it's getting really tight here. And now we're going to single crochet this first stitch and the 4th stitch together. Okay, then chain 1, cut your yarn, pull it out, pull tight, and insert your hook into one of the stitches way down here, hook that on, and then pull it into the inside. And if you need to cut any extra, there you go, pull it, make sure that's shoved to the inside there. Okay, and then kind of shape the X. Okay, and there's your X. So you can make, ooh, that looks weird. You can shape your X how you want it. There you go. Okay, So you have to make 5 of these and 5 O's. So you have X's and O's, and I have all of these all made here. So I have them in all different colors, but all the same shape here. Okay, so I have them in pink, off-white, orange, gray, and green. And then we have all 5 O's. Now there's just one last thing I want to do. You can be done right now and have your tic-tac-toe board, but there's just one simple thing that I want to do. So let's move all of the pieces aside. And what are we going to do when where we store these pieces? Well, what I had the idea of doing, actually my mom came up with this really clever idea, is if you take your yarn here and take your crochet hook, make a slip knot, and chain a large amount, okay? Just keep chaining, yarn over, pull through, just like this. Chain a very large amount. I'm not sure how much it's gonna need, but I'm just gonna keep chaining. Or you could use a ribbon. So I'm not even gonna say how many chains I'm gonna do because I'm not gonna count. I'm just gonna chain a really large amount. And once I have a large amount chained, what we're going to do is take the border of this thing, if you can zoom out just a hair here, show everybody this board. What we're going to do is wrap it around the perimeter of this board, and then we'll cinch it together to make a bag. So what we're going to do, I'm going to chain a large amount and use that to tie my bag closed as my drawstring, but you could use a ribbon or something else, maybe a shoelace or something, but I'm going to chain a large amount and then I will show you what to do next. Alright, so I just chained a lot, and while I was chaining to make sure it was long enough, I ended up starting to weave it around. So as you can see, I wove it around the edge, and I don't know if you noticed, but when we made this, there were kind of like these were like kind of holy around the edge, so I just wanted to weave this in just to A, give it a nice look, a little extra detail, and B, have it be a drawstring. So once you chain an amount that is long enough, let me make sure that this is gonna hit this, yep, we are going to, and you want it to lay flat, so I'm just chaining a little bit more here. We're gonna cut that yarn and pull it through, just like that, and then we're gonna grab the yarn needle I keep losing. There we go. And we are going to weave this through all the way around the border. So as you can see, I wove it starting. So what I just did was took the end of this and just went through, let's see here, 4 or 5 stitches back and forth on this edge, but up this edge I went every single row, as you can see there. So, but on this edge and the top edge there, I did every 5 stitches. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, go out, and pull. Okay, but you don't want to weave it tight, you want it to be able to lay completely flat. So don't pull it tight, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Whoops. Just not use our yarn needle and just use our fingers. There we go. Oh my goodness. Sorry. Obviously I'm just ready to be done with this project. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go down on this side. Okay. So as you can see, I chained a little extra there. So I want to stretch this out. Make sure it's good. Okay, I'm actually going to unweave just a little bit. So if you chain too much, you can take your yarn needle and kind of just unweave this knot by pulling this apart and then just unraveling some of it. Okay. So right about there is where we want to end it. So I'm going to pull that through again and pull tight. And then you can just tie these two ends in a knot, or like a double knot or a triple knot. Okay. And then cut them just like this. Okay. And then you can put all your pieces in there, but what I want to do, I did want to show you because my X's were kind of just like turning like this, and when I would pinch them and everything they would look like X's, but then after a while they kind of started looking like this. So what I decided to do, and actually my dad had this great idea, to take the yarn that we made the color of it, so I'm going to take this orange yarn here and cut a strand that's about 6 inches, and then take our yarn needle, okay, yarn our needle with that, and then go to the center here and just weave it in and out of the stitches on this round. Okay. Or in the center. Just like this. And back to the front here. Okay? And then just take the two strands and tie them in a knot. And when you pull it, that's more like it. It looks more like an X. And then we're going to tie it again, and you could do a double or triple knot. Okay, and then we're just going to cut that short, take our crochet hook and go into some of the stitches on the inside and pull those strands to the inside of your X and hide them just like that. And now that looks more like an X shape, and that'll keep the shape too. So I ended up doing that for all the X shapes. That way they will keep their shape and stay in there forever. And I'm just going to pile all these. Whoop, I'm going to come around here and pile all my X's and the O's in the center there. And then we're going to take each corner and pull a little bit of this strand, and there you have a bag of tic-tac-toe. So it's like a sack. And then once you're ready to play the game, you just stretch it all out and you can play right there. Awesome! Thank you so much for watching and learning how to make this tic-tac-toe board. I had so much fun making these pieces. This is going to be so much fun. Look at that! Tic-tac-toe! And tic-tac-toe! It's just so fun to play, and great for the kids and great for families, and you know, getting away from screen time, especially since it's summer break. It's a great activity for summer break. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, everyone. Until next time, happy hooking!